Toastmaster Vikas.
Toastmaster, just a quick correction. The speech is actually called The Success of Failure. Again, Success of Failure. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. A very good evening to you all.
Good evening.
It was about 48 hours back and I was really bogged down with work, assignments, my MBA application, as some of my close friends know. And I thought to myself, this doesn't make sense. A project speech right now, at the midnight hour, blowing the midnight lamp, it doesn't make sense. I don't want to do it. And that got me thinking a little bit more, because I typically don't think so much. So when I start thinking, I think a little more. And thought to myself, what am I really concerned about? What are my real issues over here? I had a bunch of good reasons, right? Busy with work, busy with meetings, busy with deadlines. But beyond that, what was I afraid about? Yes, I was afraid about the F word. Failure. I was afraid that I would not be able to draft a good speech. I was afraid I would fail at my preparation of the lack of time. And maybe most importantly, I was afraid that I would not be able to perform, and I was afraid of the failure to deliver overall a good speech to you all today. So that got me thinking a little bit more about failure, what it meant in our lives. Failure, that devastating, mortifying feeling, clenches your heart, doesn't let you do anything after that. You don't want to try what you lost at, nor do you want to try anything new. It makes you want to go back home, become invisible to everyone. We've all experienced that at some point or the other. And if you have not, kudos to you, because I certainly have more than my share. So what does it mean? And I thought to myself, failure. So today, to help us think about failure, we'll think of two individuals who have probably experienced more than our collective share of failure in their lives. First individual, brave leader of his country. Wanted to change the face of his country, wanted to help people. And just so that you guys are paying attention, I'm not going to tell you who this person is. There is a quiz at the end of the speech where you will tell me where the person was, hopefully. If not, I haven't done a good job of it, right? Moving on. So, he experienced his first failure at the young age of 22, 1831. He had a good job, was well settled, and his dad had to relocate to a new place, so he had to uproot himself, change the job, and move away. That was his first failure. The next year, being as politically inclined as he was, being as much of a leader as he was, and being as challenged and involved with the people's lives as he was, he decided to participate in the state government elections. It's not exactly called state government, but I'm doing this so that you guys don't really understand what I'm talking about. Let's just say the state legislature, for that matter. He participated in that. What do you guys expect at the age of 23? Obviously, he wasn't going to win. Following year, he was lucky enough to set up a new business in this point in time. And things were going really well for him again. He decided to participate in the elections again. Money was coming back in his life. He was really well settled. All of a sudden, his business partner passed away. And again, another failure. This time, of course, not due to something he could control, but of course, a failure certainly. At the same time, after 6 months of that failure, what did this young man do? He didn't sit back and regret the things he had not done. Instead, he stood up for election once again. And for the first time in that country, at the age of 25, they had the youngest representative in the local government. The next few years, this gentleman kept working hard, had a lot of ups and downs. He would fail, he would succeed sometimes. The one thing was always common. He'd keep running at things, he'd keep trying for different things. And every time he failed, he just stood up and wanted to do it again and again and again, which is very contrary to the opposite for most of us, at least for myself. When I hit the wall more than twice, I know that's it for me. But he would just keep trying it again and again and again. At the age of 37, he was doing really well in his law practice. By this time, he had become a famous lawyer. He was doing extremely well. People knew of him, people recognized him, people valued him. What did a normal person do at that point? Sit back, you're making good money, you have good recognition. Why would you jeopardize all these things to run for something you believed in? Again, at 37, he wanted to become the commissioner of the General Land Office. in the capital of the country. Did he succeed? No, he did not. A few years passed by. In 1856, at the age of 49, he stands for the election for the local Senate. Fails. The following year, as if that wasn't enough, at this point he's already hit failure about 6 times, he stands as the vice president of the country. Fails again. In 1858, as if all this weren't enough, he stands for the election again and fails again. Any clues so far? I know, a bit extremely vague, but I'll give you one more clue real quick. He was the 16th president of the United States of America, led his country through the American Civil War and the abolishment of slavery.
Abraham Lincoln.
There we go. Abe Lincoln, as we will lovely call him, ladies and gentlemen, failed twice at the Senate. If you put down his resume, failed 8 times to get 2 wins. But guess what? 2 wins, one of them as a president of his country, changed the face of America forever. That was Abe Lincoln for you. Every failure for him was a stepping stone to something else. He represents success in failure. Moving on, our next gentleman is a very well-known media entity. He's a business tycoon, an entrepreneur, and growing up in a very affluent family, obviously was inclined to get into his family's real estate business. Quickly took that over, went to the best school in the world for his business degree, Wharton, and came out and did really well in the real estate business. In the 70s, just like anybody else would do in the 70s, he stepped into the real estate business in Manhattan, capitalized on the plenty of opportunities over there, and kept doing well until 1989. Recession hits, and he goes down under. What would a normal person do when they hit bankruptcy? Pick up their belongings, run away. You've seen that before. Or at least be conservative, stop doing these things. He didn't do that. He invested more money in 10 to 15 of the best minds in the world to restructure his business and come back out of bankruptcy again. He kept doing this until 2008 when he was hit with recession yet again. Today, you find him on TV channels. You find him running beauty competitions. But most importantly, you definitely find him still doing what he does best. Things bigger and better. Any clues?
Trump animals.
There we go. One thing I think of when I think of this gentleman is, if you're not big enough to lose, you're most definitely not big enough to win. So what is my point here to get to the point? Simply put, let us all remember, the glory is not in never failing. The glory is in rising every time we fall. Let us remember that failure is not the antithesis of success. Failure is on the other side of success. The next time you all contemplate giving a project speech here like I did this time, please remember, as the famous American author Louis E. Boone has said, you should not fear failure so much that you do not try new things in life. The saddest description of life is one which has the descriptions could have, might have, and should have. Ladies and gentlemen, success and failure. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas, for a great